Good evening, everyone, and welcome you all to the second term of Grade 6 ICT. Grade 6 ICT, the first one we have to see is the operating system. So, what is this operating system? The operating system is the main supplier, the main system which works in a computer system. Without an operating system, you cannot start any computer, because when you purchase a new computer for the first time, what is the first software you need to install? That is what? Is the operating system. So, what is this operating system mean? Okay. So, without the operating system, you cannot work any apps. Right? Let's see what are these operating system means, first of all. Okay, it's a what? It's a kind of a software. We can say it's a system software. One of the system softwares which used to work the computer properly. Right? So we can say operating system manage all the other applications and programs in your computer. It's like if you don't have the main power supply, you say you don't have the current, you cannot work any devices in your home. Likewise, when you don't have your operating system, you cannot work any files or any application in your machine. Right? So when you take operating system, all the applications and programs in a computer, it's working through our operating system. Right? So when you take this operating system, we want to see where this operating system is located. Well, let's see. Okay, think about you are building a house. For building a house, you need to have a good foundation. So, like a good foundation in your computer system, your foundation is what? It's your hardware. Right? So, likewise, so on top of the hardware, we need to install our operating system. On top of the operating system, we are going to install all the applications. It might be a Word application, it can be a Photoshop, it can be your game, or it can be any software you need to install. First of all, you need to install your operating system. Okay? So you can see in this diagram, the operating system is situated between the applications and your hardware. Right? So after installing operating system, you can install any application in your machine. Then the users mean we, the person or the people who use the computer use this application after that. So you can see the layer, the bottom layer, we have the hardware. On top of that, we need to install our operating system. Okay, if something happened to operating system, can any user work? No, you cannot work if there's a problem in your operating system, because it's the main system which control your system. It gives all the instructions to all the devices through the operating system. So it connects the devices between the system. Right? So you can see here the hardware. On top of that, you have to install your operating system. There can be different kind of operating system. There are lot of operating systems in the world. There can be Windows, there can be Ubuntu, right? Or there can be Linux. But if one of them is not working properly, you cannot install any apps or application. So make sure your operating system works perfectly. Okay, so you must make sure it works perfectly and make sure don't put any damage, don't make any damage to the system. So you can see this area, the operating system, this part, if there's a problem in here, it makes problem to the entire system. Okay, now you can see the operating system is a what works with the computer and the user. Now here it shows here it was with the user, but you should know what is the structure. So the bottom we have its hardware, and top of that we have operating system. On top of the operating system, we can have our application. After installing application, the users can use those apps. Okay, here, right. So we will go for the next part. So what are the functions? What are the functions we can see in our system? So in our operating system, there are some work. So it manage. So there are kind of a management. You can see one we have processor management, memory management, device management, file management, and security management. If you open the operating system, if you see the operating system, these processes are available. Okay, let me show you one of here. Right, I'm going to the task manager. So I want to right click on the here. You can see task manager on the taskbar. Then you are getting this one. You can see task manager. And so when you click this more details, you can find out what is going on here. Now, what are the processes are working? So these processes are coordinated and managed by our operating system. Okay, so these processes and managing them, and in the same time, the performance. So you can see we can measure how our CPU memory is allocated for each work. It can be you may have now listening to music, you may do some work, you may do some lessons. So how the memory allocated to a system? So you can see how much memory have taken. Now you can see here on the memory, it's taken 6 GB out of 8 GB here. Then how much internet is working, right? How the devices. So all these are managed or we call controlled by our operating system. So you can see it's a very important system software you must have in a system. So if there's a failure of operating system, you cannot do the work you expected. Right, when you see these ones, you can see the process management. Operating system manage the processes work by the allocated various jobs. Now you have seen here. There are different jobs. Now the Google Chrome is there, then the Word is there. So those things are managed. The processes are managed by this one. And the second one is what? the memory management. The memory management is also, you can see in here, the processor, right? So you can see here how much they allocated memory. Now, likewise, you can find out the details. Now, these are controlled by our operating system. Now, here, the processors. And you can stop some processors if you wanted. You can terminate it, right? Then what are the history, apps history, right? Then who are the users. So likewise, you can find details, right? So these ones you can manage. So these are all controlled through our operating system. Okay, we come to the next point. What is that? It is the device management. Okay, we say now you have typed some word, or maybe some application. Maybe you have draw some picture through an application, maybe a pen. You have typed a letter through a MS Word. Now, after doing those work, now you want to take a printout. So once you click the print button in your apps or in your application, it's directly contact with that device and say, okay, printer, get ready. There is a printout coming from this app. Make sure it's ready to take the printout. So those instructions are given to our operating system. So it coordinates with these devices. So this coordination is done through our operating system. So, but if that's a one part. In another part, we say now your mouse is not plugged. It also indicates this device is not connected properly. Likewise, you can see these, they are checking whether these are functioning properly and giving instruction to them. And the next one is the file management. So it's always keep the records. So it manages. So what are the files stored in which location? Those are also managed through the operating system. So operating system keeps track of information regarding the creation, deletion, and transfer copy, right, in an organized manner, right? So those are, and other one is the security. Security also given. Now, if you see your operating system, it provides the security features like what? It provides some of the operating system now comes with what? Comes with the antivirus system, right? So if you take Windows, it's come with antivirus system. And as well as you can see, there are some protection. So the protection we are using some called firewalls. So internet firewalls. So those firewalls are given through our operating system, right? So we just see what are the here. We got control panel, and go to the security. Firewalls and different security here. You can see it's given the protection here. Right. So I have to protect the Windows Defender firewall. Right. So Windows Defender firewall is there. You can see the green color there. So it's, you can see here Windows Defender firewall states it's on. Check your machines, check your PCs, check your labs. It is on. Sometimes you may see a red line cross. It means not updated. Right, so some problem. Then the incoming connection block all the connection to apps that are not on the list of to allow apps. Right? So likewise, you can find what are these. Then active public network, what is that one? And all these are protected. Right? So turn dependent firewall on off here. So you can see here, you can turn on. Now at the moment I have turned on this one, Defender firewall. I turn on the Windows Defender firewall here for the public as well as for my private. Okay, so it's better to have protection. You know, always you must make sure your system is secure. If your system is not secure, you are in great danger. Therefore, make sure your system is perfectly secure. Right? So if you are not secure, not to download or not to go to internet without that. So always check the security functions are working. Right? So you can see now. So you can see here, these are all in green color. Don't put it to turn. So don't turn off. So turn off means you are in a risk. So these things are given through our operating system. Clear? So these are the main features. Main features we can see here. Main functions. Right? So we can say there are functions like process management, memory management, device management, file management, and security management. So these functions make sure your system is work perfectly. Okay. Now, if you see a diagram here, we can draw like a diagram, function of operating. You can see input output device management, process management, file management, memory management, and security management. So those are some of the main functions. There are some more, but these things are enough for your level. Right? So remember what are the functions available in our operating system. Right. Let's go for the features. So what kind of features we can get it from our operating system? So these are here. Now you can see it provides the platform for running the application. Now earlier we discussed in the first part, after you have hardware, you have to install what? Install the operating system. On the top of the operating system, you can install your apps. To run those apps, you need the background, from the foundation, next level, is the support from the operating system. So to running those applications, you must, that application and operating system also need to communicate. So therefore you need to have, so that's one of the features. So provide a platform for running application. So you cannot run, you cannot install any apps if you don't have what? Operating system. Right. Then handles memory management and CPU scheduling. Now you have view practical now these ones. Memory management and the scheduling. Those things are also done on the feature. Then the file system abstractions. Right? So also we can find out which files are available. And it provides the network support. For the connection, to connect to the network, connect to the internet, you need a network support. Right? Those things. And it provides what? The security features. The security features like firewall, some virus protection, right? So those also now provided through the operating system. And it provides the utilities and system services. So what are those utilities? You can have backup system. Now you see here, let me show you again. Go to control panel. Okay. Go to control panel and you can see you can backup system there. Here backup and recover. So you have the backup system. So the backup facility also available in the operating system. So it gives you lot of features. There are few here you can see, but remember these. So they are backup. So it means if there's something wrong happened today, how you take the previous data or information, how you take your previous assignment, how do you, because sometimes you may your brother, maybe or some of you come and delete everything. Some maybe problem. So if you had a backup, it is easy you to restore those things and work. Otherwise, you cannot find those data. So make sure you can have backups also, right? And you can see the restore there. Okay. You can restore or recovery. Recovering also there. So if you take the recovery there, so you can see recovery drive. You can create it like this. You can make a recovery open system there. So configure system. Likewise, you can configure and you can have the recovery drive. So you can keep a drive available for the recovery. So the recovery will be there. Then those things we can manage through what is the feature. Of this feature, we are getting lot of benefits, right? So and system and the application support application development as well, right? So those are the some of the features of the operating system. Now, so what are the operating system we want to see now? You can see what kind of operating system you can find in the market. Okay, so this is very familiar, all of you. This one is a Windows because Windows is the, we can say, the most famous operating system. Because when the Windows 95 they release, it changed the interfaces in the world. So after that, the Windows operating system become the number one because the people get used to it very easily because it has a nice graphical user interface and it is easy to operate that one. In those time, if you talk about 1995, like that time period, they were use the CL, like command line interfaces, right? So it's not user friendly. The people or the users has to remember the commands. They have to remember each and command to go for next step. But Windows make these one by using menus, buttons. So those things, it makes this operating system to operate quickly and they get used to it very quickly as well. Then we have another one. This is the logo. You must remember. So this is a Windows logo, and this is the one of the famous one. Is the Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the another one. So Ubuntu is another one which is very famous with the young generation because the young generations are like to test this. So if you are also used to test this, go for the Ubuntu. Sometimes you can have dual operating systems. In dual boot. It means one is Windows, one is Ubuntu. For that one, you need to have two drives. Okay. So if you have one drive, you cannot install both of them into one drive. You must be separated. You must partition and you have to use separate drives. It means you can install Windows in C drive and Ubuntu in D drive. Okay, so likewise you can have. Other than that, we have the what? You have the Unix. Unix is a very powerful operating system, remember. Unix is highly recommended for security purpose. If you talk about banking system, so special bank systems, high security system, they are mostly use the Unix. And it also give the protection. You don't need to install any virus guards on those. So like, then we have another one is a Red Hat Linux. It's also Red Hat and Red Hat Linux there. And the MS-DOS. So also one of the oldest one, MS-DOS. And if you take Apple machine, we have the Mac OS. Now if you talk about phone, we have iOS. Like if you take machine, Mac operating system, or the Apple machine, we have Mac OS. Right? Or we call it Macintosh. Macintosh, a short form we call Mac OS. Right. Then the next one is the Red Hat Linux. Red Hat Linux, also a version of the Linux. So they use the Linux and they develop through this one. And we have Fedora and we have Linux. So Linux symbol is, you can see a penguin. A penguin sign is the indicates the Linux operating system. Now those are these are desktop based. Desktop one are here. But nowadays we have what? Mobile devices, mobile phones. Most of you are having mobile devices, smartphones, smart devices. So those one they will use this one. They are using the BlackBerry. Earlier I had BlackBerry. Now that phone brand is not available. And you can see this logo. It's what? It's the iOS. iOS for Apple phones. The Apple brand, they are using this iOS. Then the other one, we talk about other mobile devices, not the Apple, other brands, they are highly used, but the Android operating. So Android is a free version. So Android is free, and they are here. You cannot download Windows for free, but some of them here we can use it free. You can freely download it and you can use it. Right? So earlier Windows, they get purchase for money. And if you talk about the Mac OS, also same. Right? So that's why the most of the people in the world, now we are going for the FOSS softwares. FOSS, 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 free and open source software. Free and open source software. So those software are now becoming more popular than these Windows. That's why they have the Windows now also thinking to release this version, new version in the future in free. Right? But so now this Linux and this Ubuntu are becoming more popular. Right? So these are the few operating systems you can see. Right? So now today you have learned what do you mean by operating system and what kind of operating systems we can have it, and what are the features. What are the features of operating system, and what kind of benefits you can get from the operating system. So you can see without the operating system, we cannot think about the computer. So it's combined together, the hardware and software combination we need. So that combination, this connection is given through our operating system. Okay, right. From here, Buddha, we will stop this session, and next time we will see you. And thank you all for joining, and see you next time. Bye for now.